Tom Duty, middle-aged American living in New Jersey near the Lincoln Tunnel. If you were to visit my website, you would type Howdy Doody into Google. You'll find the correct spelling of the famous puppet. You then combine Tom Duty in a Google search for my site. I'm going to, as I'm doing routinely when I tell people about Postmates, I say, you know, register and put my name down as a person who referred you. There's the opportunity for me to earn something if that person's successful. So listeners, with this series of videos, I am soliciting people to register for Postmates. Put my name down as the one who referred you. Yes, that would be this name here. I will share my screen in a moment. The most common question I get asked when I tell people about Postmates is, how much can I make? No one can answer that question. I've done it in a series of 100 videos, and it's still not a clear, direct question. Though, however, I do believe my answer is the best, or one of the best answers available. It is factual. I present records of how much I make, and someone can attempt to calculate how much they will make in the job. There is some cloudiness about how much you make on Postmates. That enough turns many people away. The other thing is I will read an email from a boss, a member of management, a representative of Postmates in Brooklyn. I get an email that's kind of concerned that I might be approaching boundaries of appropriateness on my social media, that I might be disclosing proprietary information of Postmates. I do not post this person's email, and I will not read it here. He sent it to me one-on-one. I did just give away the gender. I was going to attempt to try to not do that. It is a man. He sent it to me one-on-one. I don't feel privileged. If he wanted it posted, then he could have put his text in public. He didn't. So I will read my reply, though I won't. And in my reply, I point to a couple of the key phrases that he used. But my reply is certainly biased according to the writer, me. So I will start with that. So here's my reply to the writer. Again, he's a representative of Postmates NYC in Brooklyn, and unnecessary permission to disclose. Dear my on-demand amigo pro in Brooklyn, this is quite funny. I have good reason to believe that on occasion when I write to people in this fashion, I do not disclose their identity in my text, but no doubt I am writing it to someone personally, and I send that person a link. This is a practice I've had for a half-decade. I know that it can feel personal, and I know that it is sometimes objectionable. I don't have a lot of evidence that that is true, but I do have one who has rejected quite objectionably, which is exactly what I was trying to solicit from him. That person's name, the pseudonym, is Alejandro, and I've referred to him in this blog as being late in paying me and delinquent in paying me and never paying me on a business thing that I'm involved in with DHL. So I know that this Dear My Indian On-Demand Amigo Pro in Brooklyn is highlighting this person in what I believe he could think is a personal way, though it's not. And here is evidence that, at least on this occasion, it is not. Adam, who knows the kinds of things that I do better than anyone else other than me, read the beginning of this. He got down to maybe here, and he paused and says, "Is this blank?" He thought I was writing to someone else. I said, no, there's someone else in Brooklyn fucking with me. The number of people is no longer 1. The number of people is now 2. What?
Well, that's going to push you in trouble. Why you say fucking with you? I mean, he's just saying that he wants to have a one-on-one meeting.
Okay, fucking with me is overstated. It was, again, for the purpose of embellishment and editorialism. This is someone that wants to somehow modify my activities. So continuing, dear my on-demand amigo, my wife is shaking her head. In Brooklyn, I'm pleased to get your email making note of my very active social activity. You're concerned of my potential for exceeding boundaries by disclosing proprietary information. It's ironic that you did not threaten suspension because all the on-demand companies threaten suspension first, knowing it's also their ultimate threat. I have reason to believe on-demand companies wish there was some type of progressive discipline with their workforce, but currently it seems suspension is the first and ultimate. You may sense I would celebrate a suspension for my social activity, so you omitted it. The one-on-one meeting in Brooklyn is unattractive to me only because it's so corporate fashion, which is minor, so maybe we can get past it and I'll accept your invitation. Though my social activity may seem fully transparent, it's not. I read how Uber was caught leaking data to tabloids to expose suspected affairs. I know Postmates has some similar, though less explosive info. For example, I delivered a health cocktail from Juice Press to an actress in a Broadway theater. I did not know, I did not and would not post the star's name, even though it could get me attention and I seek attention. In addition, I do not post any of the customers' names and addresses, where and what they eat or drink. I find it interesting how people living in multi-million-dollar apartments eat bad, cheap food, and I suspect readers, my readers, would like to know more, but it's a boundary I naturally honor. I close by referencing your assurance that I can disclose my experiences, which any of my readers would tell you is not necessary. I share and share. I'll react to your next move. Sincerely, Tom Duty. Now, 24 hours roughly has passed since I posted this. I have a feeling this email that was sent to the person in response to this boundary email might be the end of it. We'll see. I do, as you heard my wife's here, I do suspect a suspension might be in my future. It is an event I am prepared for.
So what are you going to do while I'm in Italy?
Hannah, I can deliver for Uber Eats. I can deliver for. Can I continue? In theory, I have an audience.
I see trouble here.
Okay. May I continue? Do you have more to say?
I'm married to Mr. Trouble.
All right. I am moving on. I have a history of forgetting to do this, so the next thing I'm going to do is Postmates Courier. Here's my to-date deliveries. I'm over 100 now. 50 is an important number within Postmates because 50 is a mark that they use in some official ways. 100 is triple digits, so I was excited to do that. Now I'm past both of those marks with 130 deliveries and just short of $1,000. With that, I turn to Twitter because
ready to go.
All right, Hannah. With about 3 weeks ago, I learned how to do a screen capture on my phone. It turned out to be very easy. I wish I had been doing it since the beginning. So with that, I started tweeting screen grab. So in this video, I'm just going to make reference to the tweets and kind of editorialize as they remind me to say something. But listeners, if I point to anything here in this video that interests you, it's probably going to be you will get more information by visiting my Twitter page. This is, in other words, I've got two pictures here. They're both screen captures. I could click on them and show them in this video, but I'm not. I'm just going to refer to them. And here's the one I wanted to do. This, I think, is significant. This is me doing a screen capture of the shifts. Now, I was in this hour right here, 3 to 4, and it was closed, and I was idle. And I was pissed that I was unable to get these shifts. I was unable to get the privilege of being priority dispatch. in order to be priority dispatch, you have to be scheduled. I was unscheduled during this 3 to 4 hour, though I worked part of it. I finished the delivery during this time, and I could not get another delivery assignment. I knew I had to get on the schedule for these hours, and I sat there on my bucket on 59th Street near Lex, and I had finished. I was right outside an apartment building or an office building, and I sat there, refresh, click, refresh, click, refresh, click, and I was able to get all the hours that I need. Listeners, if you're wondering how you get scheduled, that worked. As a novice, it's frustrating because you know you need priority dispatch to get any high level of delivery assignments, though it seems sort of evasive. I was able to get all the hours I need, though I could only do it during this hour here. I had been trying for days, and it was only during this hour, and even in the last half hour of this hour, that those opened up. Here's a couple of my assignments. Here's something. I don't know if people care about the menus. I think it's kind of interesting. I mentioned in that text people in multi-million-dollar New York apartments who eat cheap, bad food. This is, I think it says, if you're to click on it, it's a drumstick and some other things. This is a really nice restaurant, Delicatessen. I delivered that to a luxury apartment. This is a picture of Calvin Klein on Houston Street that I took for a friend. And Panera Bread. I went to Panera Bread for the first time during this very efficient stop in there. And then these two are my 8 deliveries. I will not click on each of them. However, listeners, if you're interested in what I earned during this like 7-hour day, this would tell you. Those clicks, go to my Twitter page, click on these 2 images. You will see my 8 assignments and my payouts. And then there's the 130, 965. And you can see 965 is now 966, and that's because some tips came in. I did the screen capture last night. As you can see, I have no more deliveries. 130 is still 130, but the dollars went up. That's because some people tipped me. I don't know who. And this is a link of me posting that to my Brooklyn Amigo. And then there's some other tweets that are unrelated. So, listeners, you can hear in my wife's tone there's some nervousness about this. Am I going to be suspended? The message to me said nothing about suspension, though within the Postmates system there is threats of suspension in the app ever present. And this email specifically said nothing about suspension. So I know of no specific things that I have violated to date, though just the volume of my disclosure has apparently made at least one person nervous enough to sit down and write me. I, of course, think I'm bulletproof because I can get an assigned. I don't have a criminal record, so I can get the same gig for a different company. I prefer not to do that. I have a trace amount of loyalty to Postmates. I think it's a good company. I think the app is efficient. And when it does sort of create snafus, I think they are fixing it. I think they have a competent, disciplined, effective staff that fixes the app. The app is the company, and the app is good. So I'd like to stay with Postmates if that option is afforded to me. This has been Tom Duty, middle-aged American living in New Jersey near the Lincoln Tunnel. If you were to visit my website, you would type Howdy Doody into Google. You'll find the correct spelling of the famous puppet. You then combine Tom Duty in a Google search for my site. Thank you for listening. Have a good day, good evening, or restful night's sleep. Ciao.